I believe love is more biological, like brain chemistry in the reward system that can be recreated with other people under the right conditions. Like, I think it's kind of convenient that people's soulmates usually live nearby and speak the same language. I do love her, and I'm worried if I share this perspective, she'll question our entire relationship. Don't take away that magic.
Sure. It's like telling your child like Santa doesn't exist.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
She believes that two people are essentially meant for each other.
Yes.
And then he has the viewpoint that your personality could technically line up with whoever if you guys kind of are on the same wavelength. Do you believe in fate? That you finally end up in the same place as the person and all the steps that you take, all the decisions that you made led you to that person? Or do you think it's kind of luck of the draw?
Is there a way to be honest about how I view love without hurting her or making it seem like what we have isn't real?
If there's a way to converse with her and ask her questions that open her mind up.
I've always believed that you could have more than one soulmate, not just romantically.
Sure. Or if it doesn't work out, were they never your soulmate to begin with?
I've been with my girlfriend for about 2.5 years, and I genuinely love her. The other night we were talking about love, and she said she believes it's something spiritual. I agreed in the moment, but honestly, I don't see it that way. I believe love is more biological, like brain chemistry in the reward system that can be recreated with other people under the right conditions. Like, I think it's kind of convenient that people's soulmates usually live nearby and speak the same language. To me, if you meet someone you're attracted to, you build memories and connect emotionally and physically, those same feelings can happen again with someone else. I do love her, and I'm worried if I share this perspective, she'll question our entire relationship. Is there a way to be honest about how I view love without hurting her or making it seem like what we have isn't real?
I like that. It's crazy. I feel like I was just having that conversation very recently, and I can't remember with who. Maybe a friend of mine. But I do feel like it's a really good conversation. So he wants to know if he should have the conversation about it with her. I don't see the necessity to have the conversation if he thinks it could have some sort of, detrimental outcome. So it really just comes down to like how she is with their type of communication. Like, I feel like when me and you talk about deeper things, I may share some things with you that you may either not agree with or may not think it in the way that I do.
Yeah.
However, I feel like you can take it. It doesn't make you like question our relationship.
Right.
But obviously, not to inject ourselves into this, but if there's no added benefit to just straightforward answer his question. I don't see any added benefit of him just like having that conversation with her. I know sometimes it feels like we have these deeper thoughts and we want to share it with our partners. And again, it's a great conversation to have. And I could absolutely talk more in depth about that conversation. I would love to.
Yeah.
But just to get straight to answering the question, I don't see, if he thinks that it may be a problem, may make her question it. I mean, why not let her have that idea of love and soulmate? Because the flip side of that is neither one of you are right or wrong, right? You can't prove who's right or wrong.
That is so true. So that's a great point.
Yeah, even if you share those ideas, that doesn't make them correct. She could be right and soulmates could be true, and then you could just be sharing your thoughts for absolutely no reason, because in a nutshell, you could be wrong, right? So again, they're fun conversations to have if you just want to have those philosophical conversations. But if you think it could have a negative effect, I don't see if it doesn't benefit the relationship and it only does, may cause some sort of harm. I don't see the point in this. You can feel how you want to feel. It's almost like I look at it as the same as religion. If you believe in a certain deity and I believe in a separate one, like my goal is to never convince you of my belief system. If your belief system works for you, if it makes you a certain type of person that I love and that I truly genuinely cherish, who am I to say that your belief system is incorrect and mine is correct? So I look at it the same way. There's if somebody were to ask me how I feel, I would be honest with you. If she's asking him, how does he feel? Sure. But if he's like volunteering the information, I never go up to, I would never tell somebody, if they believe in this, religion, that they're wrong, or I believe in this religion, and try to convince them otherwise, unsolicited, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay,
yeah,
that's kind of my straightforward answer for this, and then we can actually get into the conversation of a soulmate. I would love to do that.
I would love that as well, and I completely agree. I agree with you 1,000%. I definitely see, the thing is like women, we are just much more emotional, right? So we're gonna hone in and find like the deeper meaning behind love.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like love is like, it's that feeling to us, and it's like something that's super magical, and for a lot of people it's spiritual. We talk about like soulmates and all the time, and so I think that sometimes with some women, they're just not open to the logical aspect of things. Men tend to be more logical.
Yeah.
And women tend to be more emotional. So I agree with you. That was the thing that really hit me, was don't take away that magic.
Sure. Yeah, it's like telling your child like Santa doesn't exist.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Again, those are fun. I love philosophical conversations. That's my, that's my lane.
I love them too. You really got me into those.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could do it all day.
It takes the right mind.
It does.
To be able to like understand it.
Sure.
And be open to it as well.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
I think that if you know your partner, and you even feel that there might be a chance where she might get upset with you, or might question like what you have based off of like your true beliefs about love, then I think that it's okay to not share it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and with that being said, because I'm sure some people are probably listening to us and might question, if that is like, if you're withholding secrets, or if you're lying, right? Like, because he did say that he went ahead and agreed with her, even though he didn't.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's a good point. I just don't think this is a serious enough topic to to
like deem it as like,
to cause some sort of turmoil in the relationship. This isn't some sort of infidelity question. This isn't some sort of I don't even know. I mean, even religion, I would say, was probably even more serious than this.
Yes.
It's not like it'd be like him lying about being a Christian or something. That might be a little bit more serious. But I don't think the belief in soulmates, should be a deal breaker or something that causes turmoil. And
I agree. I think that some things are just better left unsaid.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're lying or hiding anything. It's just, you just know your partner, and like if there's something that they're just not going to like get on the same wavelength with you on, if it's not detrimental.
Sure. Also, there's a way to approach these kind of conversations without deeming your belief system, superior to hers. And that's simply by, and you do this quite a bit with me, even though I've caught on to it and I know why you do it. It's usually because you disagree with me. But you'll ask me. You won't say I disagree with you. You'll say, well, do you ever think? And then you'll say something kind of opposing to my viewpoint.
Yes.
And it will spark either some sort of thought process or kind of dive deeper into the conversation. Now, again, I've come to understand that, like,
you figured me out.
Yeah, you may just not agree with me in totality, but she may not know that. So instead of saying, well, I don't believe in this, there's a way to maybe converse with her about it and ask her questions that maybe open her mind up even more about your belief system, but you not having to come out and say, well, I don't believe in soulmates. Hey, have you ever, now I know you believe in soulmates, but have you ever considered, like, what would you think if like soulmates didn't exist? What do you think is the alternative to that? What would your viewpoint be if soulmates weren't real? I've heard, some people believe, and then you can kind of say your belief and just see how she responds to it.
That's
and then
good.
You guys can just have a fun, open conversation without you really having to disagree with her or make her or let on to you having this opposing viewpoint that could cause her to, look at your relationship entirely different. This is a pretty fun conversation to have, and a good philosophical conversation to have. But yeah, you can more so just ask. There's a way to kind of introduce your belief system without saying, I don't agree with you. Just ask questions. Say, well, that's actually like super interesting. Like I've read up on the soulmates and soul ties, and those are super intriguing. But I've also read some kind of opposing viewpoints. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? And just see how she responds to that, and then open up the conversation. Play devil's advocates. Make it seem like you're playing devil's advocate. But those are good conversations, and maybe little by little, she does inch towards your belief system, if that's your overall goal, without the harm done of her thinking, well, our relationship, maybe I could have loved anybody, and this is just the one that that happened to work out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
That's great advice for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's like a really great way, as opposed to, because I was trying to wrap my head around it, and I was like, okay, how would he open the conversation up and say, hey, by the way, I know I agreed with you the other day,
sure,
but I don't anymore. And I think that's like really great advice as far as like bringing the conversation like back up. And I don't know, who knows? She might be a little more like open to that. I love when we have deep conversations like this, because the way that you think, it gets me thinking as well.
Sure.
Because I am a very open-minded person, and I am intrigued by philosophy.
Yeah.
You really got me into it.
Well, it also allows me to deep dive into your thought process, why you think the way you think, where do some of your ideologies stem from, and also, you may be similar to other people. So, it allows me to maybe understand the world better, right? Everybody isn't walking around with the same ideas that I have or the same mindset that I have. And I'm not one of my biggest philosophies is that I could be wrong in everything that I say.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely objective in my beliefs, and I consider all possibilities. So essentially, when it comes to those type of things, obviously they're just great in deep conversations to have to kind of pick people's brains. It's usually not the goal to change people's minds or make them, sometimes it can be, but sometimes it's just like, there are some amazing philosophers, from early centuries that would absolutely disagree with each other, but both have incredible mindsets, So it's fun. It's a good conversation. But yeah, I just think that there's, like I said, there's ways to approach this. Now, I guess, do you have anything more to say about that? Because we can actually discuss.
No, yeah, let's dive in. Let's dive
conversation.
In.
Okay,
absolutely.
Soulmates. She believes that two people are essentially meant for each other.
Yes.
Okay, and then he has the viewpoint that you could kind of be meant for. This is so weird. I just had this conversation. I don't know who I was talking to.
Yeah.
So crazy. So he believes that basically your personality could technically line up with whoever, if you guys, kind of are on the same wavelength and maybe mesh well. I want to get a little bit more. Maybe I'm not paraphrasing this correctly.
No, you're doing good.
Maybe,
I did have to condense it just a little bit.
What I'm, and let me kind of straw man this, or steel man this a little bit, and then you can kind of clarify. What I am assuming that he thinks is that basically, obviously we all have a set of characteristics and personal traits. We all come from, certain environments growing up. It seems fairly far-fetched that I grow up in this city and my exact soulmate ends up in this city, or that somehow we will cross paths at some point, especially when there's billions of people on the earth. For all I know, there's somebody in, Italy that technically could be my soulmate, but I just will never meet them, right? You know, that's absolutely a possibility. I assume that's kind of what he's saying. So basically what happens is when you're kind of in the vicinity of people, when you're in the vicinity of other people and like-minded people, you kind of learn to connect with who's around you. And then the person that maybe, you know, connects the most or that you vibe with the most, you know, and that you can kind of, you know, check certain boxes.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of who you can see yourself with, maybe end up marrying, and you guys live a long life. However, you may, if you lived in, you know, some other country, or if you moved to another country, you may have also met another person with exact same qualities or very similar qualities, or maybe even better, that you would have worked with long term just as well.
Yeah.
And what makes that person, you know, your soulmate? Does it make them your soulmate, or is it just kind of a set of, you know, traits that you have that just happen to mesh well with somebody around you? Because obviously we go through plenty of partners where they don't mesh well and they're all, you know, breakups. And then there's obviously a lot of people who maybe never meet their quote unquote soulmate, and then you know, that's why, because we were just watching the show. That's what it was, or the movie.
It was, as you're talking, it started to click with me, though, that we had the conversation.
Yeah, because it was the Netflix show where you had to meet your, or it was the movie where you had to meet your soulmate, or you were gonna. It was the show. Yeah, you're gonna meet your soulmate, or you're gonna die.
Oh yes,
or you're gonna die. Something bad is about to happen, or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of crazy. So that's where this conversation stemmed from.
That's where it stemmed from. Absolutely. It's all tracking now.
Yeah. So the whole point of that show was her questioning now if she had met her soulmate.
Yes.
You know, or otherwise she was going to die if she married the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Such
so
a
that's
good show. Oh my gosh.
That's me steel manning what he believes. I would like to know, what do you believe? Do you kind of tend to lean towards his viewpoint, or do you tend to lean towards her, or a little mixture of both, or what?
You know, that's a really great question. Honestly, I do believe what he says does make a lot of sense. Especially when it comes to like the brain chemistry. And he did, when he was, okay, so I have it pulled up here. So he said he believes that love at its core, a series of neuronal activity in the reward center that can easily be recreated.
Okay.
And I mean, that makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it does, I think that does stem from, like he had mentioned, making those memories with somebody.
Sure.
You know, when you are happy with somebody, I think that it's easy to then believe that that person is your soulmate.
Sure.
If everything is going well and you love them so deeply and it's reciprocated, you know what I mean? So, you know, I've always believed that you could have more than one soulmate, not just romantically.
Sure.
Right? Like,
which is a really good topic, because there's definitely people in your life who you could love tremendously, and it may have nothing to do with, or it may not be anything, you know, intimate relationship wise, right? It could just literally be like, I will always love this person forever. I would do anything for them. It's not anything past, past a friendship, or, you know,
absolutely.
But absolutely could be your soulmate, because you guys tend to connect on so many levels outside of, outside of something sexual or something intimate, you know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. Yes. I when we started talking about soulmates more, like as of recently, and just like doing the research into it, I think that for me, I started to sway in that like philosophical way.
Sure.
Yes, I'm a woman, and I'm like a little more like emotional, and like my feelings, of course, are like, you know, probably more heightened than yours.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before. I always felt that like like how convenient is it that your soulmate is in your hometown?
Yeah.
Like, I always like believe that like if you get out of the area that you are in, you might find, I mean, like, if you're already in a relationship or a marriage, like, I'm so sorry, but like, I just feel like someone not like better is out there for you, but I just feel like you just truly maybe haven't met that person.
Right.
Well, especially if like you're currently, single, or maybe you're in a relationship, an abusive relationship, or like you're just like not really like happy or vibing with your partner. I've always felt like your person is out there somewhere, and it doesn't have to be in your hometown.
Right.
But I do think that love is like what you make of it.
Yeah.
In a way,
Sure.
like, I just feel really compelled to say this, okay? Like, I'm an open book, and I'm sorry if this is TMI, but I'm not religious. And I think that also helps, or I think that that's why I think the way that I think.
Sure.
As well, when it comes to love. Like, it's not like a religious, spiritual thing. Sure. I don't think that a higher power brought us together. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. I think that you chose me and I chose you. And we have been putting in the work to make us work. We choose each other every day. Yeah. We pour our love into each other every day. Yeah. So yeah, I think that I'm with him. Yeah. On this one.
It's definitely right. I mean, it's definitely a really deeper conversation. And if you do believe in soulmates, the question, even further is, you could potentially end up with your soulmate, marry your soulmate, and then things in the relationship not go well, or some sort of tragedy in the relationship could cause the relationship to go south. And the question would remain, does that mean they were your soulmate and it didn't work out, or does it mean that they were never your soulmate to begin with? These are really tough questions to answer, because there's somebody you could absolutely start out, being truly in love with, and then, not to serious this out too much, but maybe you guys lose a child, and we see that, right? Yeah. And that causes, immediate kind of, a hindrance in the relationship. Some people tend to lean on each other, and then some people,
they start to
drift apart, right? Yeah. Because they're dealing with it differently, or one person maybe drifts into a depressive state, or stress, hits them differently, and then another person doesn't really know how to handle it. I mean, there's just so many, there's so many different scenarios where if somebody is your soulmate, you'd really have to question, to what end? Are they your soulmate and it could potentially not work out? Or if it doesn't work out, were they never your soulmate to begin with? I love the idea of a soulmate. I think, again, I tend to lean more towards his viewpoint. But I will say it's not easy to meet that person that you do see yourself potentially spending the rest of your life with, and everything just kind of connects. I mean, those things some people will see as a coincidence, and some people will just see like, what do you say, a neurological kind of love that can be recreated. Yes. I don't know, because like for me, a person who's, in sales, I'm pretty good with people, right? I can vibe with a lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have my standards or my checklist that, has to work for me. But in a sense,
right, of course.
You might be a person who just tends to get along with a lot of people, right? And in your relationship, you jump in like, it does well, and the love is there. I mean, you just I don't know. You just don't know. So I will say that it is definitely hard to meet, that person that does feel like your soulmate, for sure. I mean, that is a hard thing to do. But I absolutely probably agree with, his viewpoint that, these are just kind of a set of characteristics that we tend to, that it's the people in your vicinity don't automatically mean that like you're soulmates in, you know, in the same area or same space as you. Like you could find a girl in your same hometown and you might find that exact same girl, somebody you even vibe with more across the country or in the next city over. That doesn't mean keep looking. That, you know, when you find your person, when you find the person that works with you, make them your soulmate, right? I'm not a fated person. If anybody were to ask me, but I don't believe in fate. I personally believe in, because when you start believing in fate and you start getting into like a more determinist mindset, I mean, that's a whole different, you know, avenue to head down. Like people that are determinists and don't believe in free will. I mean, that's a, you know, people that believe in fate. That's a whole journey. That's a whole deep dive into, you know, the way you really, really think. And I don't know, I believe you create your own destiny. And so in the same sense, I believe that you can create that your own love with the right partner. Yes. But somebody who's kind of on the same wavelength with you, and maybe that's multiple people around the world. But again, when you find that one, you stay with them. You know, obviously you'll go through a bunch to get to that one, and you know, make them your soulmate. You know, make them your soulmate.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000% on that. Like I think that it's just finding the person who checks most of your boxes. We talked about this before, right? Yes. Not everybody is going to like have all of the qualities and all of the things that you want in a person, but it is just finding the ones that are like most important to you. Right.
Well, and that's the other thing is like, I think it could potentially be detrimental because you could believe in this soulmate and then want this person that checks every single box, and the one that they don't, you immediately kind of write them off. Instead of a real relationship works by realizing, hey, they do meet everything that I want, and there might be a few little quirks that I don't like, but things I can work with, or things that aren't deal breakers for me in a relationship. And, you know, so the whole idea of a soulmate, you know, don't let it fool you into thinking this person has to be perfect on every level. It's all about growth. It's all about growing together. Yes.
That is so major. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Because like people feel like they have to have all of your boxes checked off, and they just have to be already like packaged up in a pretty bow, like ready to go. Yeah. And that is just, it's rare. Like that's not always the case. Yeah. It's like finding somebody who just you literally can see yourself with for the rest of your life. Yeah.
And we all want companionship. Yeah. We all want companionship. And so it's really just about like working and growth. I mean, again, it's healing whatever you've been through till you're in the right place for the right relationship. One. I mean, there's just so many kind of, you know, there's just so many levels to becoming the person you should be for your partner and vice versa. Yeah. And then you guys finding that connection and then moving on, you know, and it's just hard to say that, you know, you meet one person and that's the only person in the whole world, you know. You'd like to think that, and I love the fairy tale, and I would never like to give my girl the idea that she could meet another me or a better me. But hopefully she doesn't feel that way because of what we've built together. Right. Right. Yeah. And so, but we built that. We didn't just meet each other and then it was already there. Yeah. And that's what it, I think, personally is about.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. Because, wow, like 8 years in, like what we built together is so magical. Yeah. Like, but we did the work to get here. Yep. Yeah. And it's like, and I know if we were to like break up and I go off with somebody else, I'm not going to feel what I feel with you after 8 years. Not. Like, then it's and the rebuilding. If you were my
soulmate, I will say that we could be soulmates. You break up with me, or we break up and you go off, and doesn't mean you're still not my soulmate. Yeah. Even though we didn't work out, I still might feel like you're the greatest thing that I've ever had.
That is so true.
Or that's ever been in my life. And it just, you know, things may have not have worked out. Yeah. But I would still feel the same, you know, love and passion and compassion that I feel for you now. So, you know, even if you were my soulmate, it doesn't mean that, you know, even if we were to break up, I would still feel you're my quote unquote soulmate, or at least with the underlying definition of how people perceive what a soulmate is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. I love the soulmate talks.
Yeah, it's a good conversation. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Soulmate or I don't even know what the verse terminology is for that. But soulmate or not, do you think we just kind of meet people and coincidentally, we could fall for somebody that's in the same area, or we move away? Do you believe in fate? Do you believe that you finally end up in the same place as the person, and all the steps that you take, all the decisions that you made led you to that person? Or do you think it's kind of luck of the draw and just growth as a person, and then finding someone else that kind of matches your wavelength?
Yeah.
We'd love to hear how you guys feel.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. If you don't have anything else.
Yeah, I think that was it.
All right. Thank you guys. We appreciate you coming and stopping by. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.